Townsend. Eric. Eric. What happened, bud? What happened? Can you hear me? Now. What happened, bud? Sorry, brother. What happened, bud? You want to shoot you? What's going on? Fall? In any hunting accident or medical event that happens in the woods where firearms could potentially be involved, you must always assess the situation. Never run blindly into something just because someone you know or yourself have been injured. As you saw in the previous video, I slowed down to check my surroundings to make sure that there was nothing dangerous to me before I could help my partner. As I came up to my partner, I immediately did a visual assessment, trying to figure out anything immediate that I saw. He was making noise and was groaning, but I couldn't see his face. As in most cases when you're hunting certain types of animals, you may have his face covered. So I removed that face covering so that I could see what was going on visually, but also so to help him breathe. I shook him a little bit, not too much, because you're worried about a potential fall. You're worried about his neck being injured, causing some sort of ailment that could cause him to be paralyzed. So just a little light shake. He groaned a little bit, but I still wanted to look, listen, and feel. I want to look to see if he's opening his eyes, moving his mouth. I want to feel for a pulse, and at the same time I want to lean down and listen for air movement. I'm listening for air movement, and again, going back to the look, I'm also looking for chest rise and fall. That tells me he has an airway, he's breathing, and his pulse tells me he has circulation, ABCs. I immediately switched to what they call a hand raking maneuver. In the previous video, I'm running my hands down each limb, down both sides of the trunk, and then down each leg. Every time I do that, I'm looking at my hands to see if I see blood. If I do, then perhaps I have a large bleeder that needs to be treated with a tourniquet or direct pressure. I move all the way around the victim, or in this case my partner, making sure that he's not bleeding and that there's no visible injuries. I'm also noting as I move around any noises he makes when I touch a specific area. Like in the video, when I touched his leg, he groaned quite loudly, so I know that's a potential area for injury. Once I've determined that my scene is safe and I have ruled out any major bleeds, any airway issues, or circulation issues requiring CPR or emergency ventilation measures, then I need to get a hold of help. We recommend carrying two forms of communication, especially when you're in the backcountry. Something as simple as your cell phone and a small two-way radio. Now, it's very important if you're hunting with a partner or you're in an area that other people are hunting that you know, that you tell them where you keep your forms of communication. If my hunting partner has a cell phone, he may have a different service, so he may have better reception than I. So I would know that maybe he keeps his cell phone in a right pocket on the front, or maybe in his backpack. So in that case, I could use his communication should my communication fail. Also, if he has a two-way radio and I have a two-way radio and he's alert and conscious enough to radio me, then I can very quickly come to his aid and get more people, more help to help him in his time of emergency.
Eric. Yeah, man. Eric. Dude, I fell out of the tree. Yeah, man.
Where are you hurting at?
My neck's a little bit sore, man.
You feel your arms and legs?
Yeah, I can feel everything,
feel
man.
Me touching?
Yeah, I can move my hands and my feet, but man, my neck's sore. I ain't gonna lie.
Well, let's not move. Let's not move right now. Let's keep your legs still. Okay, keep your arms still.
All right, man.
I'm going to use our packs here and make a little cradle for your head so you don't forget and move while I'm gone.
Okay.
All right.
I'm good, man.
It's a little uncomfortable.
Sorry, man.
Oh, it's okay. All right, listen.
Yeah.
Truck's a mile away.
Okay.
Here's your two-way radio.
Got it.
All right.
Channel mode.
Got it.
All right. I've got mine.
Okay.
In my pocket. All right.
I got you, man.
I've got to go to the truck.
Yep.
I'm gonna check in with you about every few seconds. Okay.
All right. I'm good. I'm really good. It's just my neck and I feel a little tingly in my hands.
Okay.
You know?
Let's not move. I'll be right back. Okay.
right.
Hang in there.
All right. Thanks, brother.
In the video you just watched, I came upon my partner, my hunting partner, who was down, but he was awake and was alert enough to answer my questions. In that case, I quickly assessed that he was not injured in any way that would cause him to bleed or to stop breathing immediately. He was able to answer questions, in which case he told me that he had fallen quite a considerable distance and landed in this area and was complaining of neck pain, but was able to feel his arms and his legs. So fearing a spinal injury, which is pretty common in falls from tree stands, I immediately want to immobilize his neck the best that I can. Now, in the instance of the video, I used 2 backpacks that I happen to have with me. You can also use logs or large stones. Or if you carry a SAM splint, you could also use a SAM splint, which we recommend carrying in a first aid kit, especially when in the back country or in the deep woods. Once I had moved these 2 packs on both sides of his head and he was immobilized, I gave him a radio so that I could keep contact with him and let him know where I was and what was going on, but also so that he could contact me and not feel alone. It's important in any situation, especially an emergency situation, to not bring anxiety to the patient or to your partner. It only makes their outcome worse. Always be in control, as in control as you can get. In that case, I gave him the ability to contact me, the ability for me to contact him, and then I immediately went to go get help because his airway and breathing and circulation were okay. In that case, there's not much that I can do in the field. What happened, man?
Man, I was trying to climb and get up the tree stand, slipped out and busted. This is my bad leg, man. I busted my ankle.
Oh, this is the one you had surgery on, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, man.
I got your call, got your text.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for coming, man.
Text came before anything, so.
Sorry to get you out of your hunt, man.
Oh, it's okay, man. You got your first aid kit with you?
Yeah, man, I got it.
Yeah, it looks pretty swollen, man. I'm gonna leave that shoe on. Tell you what, we're gonna use a stick, man. Splint that thing and walk you out of here. What was you doing?
I was trying to get up in the tree stand, and man, my foot slipped on the way up there, and I come down, and all my weight just landed on it.
You hurting anywhere else?
No, that's it, man. Just my ankle.
Not bleeding anywhere, are you?
Nope. No, I'm good.
Good deal.
It's not to know of. I haven't seen anything, but I'm good. I just hurt.
Glad you got that first aid kit. Just want to use your Israeli bandage out of there to secure this with it.
Let me hold that for?
Yeah, if you don't care. All right, here we go.
Kind of hard to do on your own.
We'll tighten this down just a little bit here. All right, now you can let it go. I think I got it. Let's make sure that's center and parallel.
It already feels better, man.
Yeah, it's just going to help you keep from flexing when I walk out of here.
No joke, man. I'm underneath my foot there.
All right, clip that there.
Dude, that's crazy. That definitely helped.
Good deal. I'm going to tuck that in. All right. Get your stuff put back up here.
I got you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'm going to get my pack on.
How far you think we got to get out of here, man?
About 3/4 of a mile. We can limp it. We got plenty of time before dark.
It's gonna feel like an eternity, I believe, brother. We got it. Ready? Get on this knee here.
Yeah, try not to put any weight on that side, okay? Use me as a crutch.
Pack on here.
Yeah, we don't want to leave anything. Ready?
Yep, I'm ready. Thanks, man.
No problem. Get you out of here and get you to the hospital. In this instance, this particular scenario, my hunting partner Eric had injured his ankle. Now, on visual inspection, it's hard to tell if that ankle was fractured or if he had any ligament injury, but the point is we need to immobilize this so that we can make Eric mobile enough to get him to the vehicle. He was awake, alert, and oriented, no bleeds, no airway, breathing, circulation issues. So we immediately want to treat this by securing it, by stabilizing it, so that we can walk out. The way we do that is we want something rigid, parallel on this ankle. It can work the same way on a wrist. Any joint that can twist or roll, you want to splint that way. You can use, like I did in the video, 2 sticks. You're in the woods, sometimes you have to make things up on the fly. You can use what we recommend as a SAM splint and make a stirrup splint out of that, which is basically just a U-shaped splint to keep your foot from moving in any direction. Again, when you're talking stabilization of any long bone or short bone, the key is to make it immobile, but you also want to make sure that you keep it from being too tight. And in this case, I would take my SAM splint and then I would wrap that ankle with this Israeli bandage. Because Eric had his first aid kit with him, I had an Israeli bandage. You could also use a shoestring, your belt, pieces of material to do the same thing. In our first aid kits and in our survival kits, a lot of the times we tell people to carry the Israeli or a shamag or shimga, depending on how you pronounce it. And you could also use those. A triangular bandage would work the same way as well. But again, the key is to immobilize in any direction that bone so that we can make our partner mobile and get him out of the emergency. And you got a bleeder. Must have hit you in the leg.
Oh man, it hurts.
Yeah. Hang on, bud. We're gonna get it.
How bad is it, man?
It's arterial, man. It's gonna be okay though. All right, I'm gonna lift this leg up. All right, bud. I'm gonna go up as high as I can here.
God, it hurts.
Sorry.
Oh my God, is this gonna hurt, man?
Yeah, it's gonna hurt a little bit.
Oh God, what are you doing?
I'm gonna put a tourniquet on. I need you to just relax, man.
Okay. Oh gosh.
All right, we're gonna start twisting. Okay, it's gonna hurt.
All right.
1, 2. One more.
Go it.
All right. It stopped.
Did you get it?
Yeah, we got it. All right, Bo. Where's your radio?
It's in the pack, man.
All right.
I got it.
I'm gonna have to go for help. We got it stopped. Your radio's in the front pocket here.
All right. Thanks, man.
We'll set that there.
I got it.
You got any water on you?
Yeah, I got some in here. You go.
Okay, listen, I want you to sip on that water while I'm gone.
All right.
Truck's about a mile away.
Okay.
I'll be back, okay? I got my radio. I'll radio in a few
All
seconds.
right, man. Thanks, man.
In this instance, as I was doing the rake method, I noticed when I looked at my hands that I had bright red blood on my hands. That's indicative of an arterial bleed. My partner, my hunting partner, in some way, shape, or form has come in contact with an injury that has pierced or passed through an artery, causing him to bleed profusely. You have about 2.5 minutes, tops about 5 minutes before you've bled out so much blood that you're no longer sustainable with life. So it's very important that you get the bleeding stopped. One way we can do that is with direct pressure. With a large vessel like a leg or an upper arm artery, you're going to want to put all your weight on that area. Sometimes it's helpful to go above the area into where the artery starts at so that you can get above the actual injury and then apply pressure with all of your weight. Again, on the arms and on the legs, it's helpful to use 2 hands with your weight. One of the quickest ways to stop an arterial bleed, like you saw in the video, is with a tourniquet. Tourniquets are relatively cheap. They're between $30 and $50. I carry one everywhere I go. We recommend in our classes that you carry at least one Most of the time, if we're in the deep woods or we're doing work in a dangerous environment, we carry two. One for an arm, one for a leg, or one for two legs, just depending on what happens. These are, again, applied high and tight. You want to go as high above the injury as you can. You want to tighten that down until that bleeding stops. Now, it's very painful for your partner, for your victim. However, as you tighten, that blood flow may begin to squirt a little bit more and a little bit more. Don't be afraid. Continue to tighten that tourniquet, and then eventually it will shut off. When it does, you lock that tourniquet in place, and depending on the style, that'll depend on how you lock that in place. We recommend that you follow the manufacturer's directions on that. Once it's locked in place, if you have time, note on there with a magic marker the date and time of when that was placed. Check on your partner. If he's still awake, alert, and oriented, and you're a long way from help, let him sip some water. He needs to be rehydrated. We need to get some fluids into his system because of the blood loss. And then you need to go for help. Again, I offered him a way to communicate with me and for me to communicate with him with a two-way radio or a cell phone if you have service, and then I went for help. So again, we stopped that bleeding. On some occasions, you have a small bleeder or perhaps a large vein, which is not pressurized. So you have a large amount of dark blood, an ooze, if you will, a large ooze of blood, and you just need to stop that. So one way to do that is to pack that wound with a simple gauze roll. And the way you do that is you want to hold the gauze roll above it. You want to locate your wound. You want to, as you go, you want to twist and push with your finger down in the wound. Twist and push, twist and push. And you just want to keep feeding that until you can't possibly pack that anymore. And then once you're done, you don't even have to cut this. Set it aside and then apply pressure. Holding pressure until the bleeding stops. Sometimes that's 2 minutes, sometimes it's 5 minutes, sometimes it's 10 minutes. But because it's an ooze, it's a venous bleed, it is not something that's going to be life-threatening once you get to this point if you stop it soon enough. Again, that's wound packing. All of these things are in a first aid kit or something that I carry in my backpack. Going into the woods unprepared is a quick way to end up dead. And our goal here is to teach you and give you the tools and the education necessary so that you can survive, Lord forbid, an incident or an emergency in the wild.
All right, so we're going to talk about exposure and visibility. Those two things really kind of go together when you're out in the wilderness, especially when you're on hunting trips, fishing trips, hiking, camping, expeditions, whatever it might be. So what you see in front of you here is a Mylar blanket, or what they call a space blanket, or emergency thermal blanket, right? What these are is just it's like an aluminum Mylar material that's really tough and durable, and that's what you want for somebody. The reasons that you would use this in the field is like what we said, exposure, or maybe an injury where the person can potentially go into shock, or they're getting hypothermic, they're getting too cold because of maybe hunting in the winter or whatever the situation would be. That right there, this alone can help prevent somebody from going into shock, irreversible shock, and save their life. This thing folds up, super small, easy to pack, and they're very cheap to be able to purchase. So make sure you got a Mylar blanket for protecting somebody from injury, from potential shock or hypothermia in the field. Also, the visibility side of things. You can see here we got this high-vis orange on, right? Easy to spot in the woods. But people that's going out, maybe they're squirrel hunting, maybe they're turkey hunting, or wherever you're at in the country, orange may not be required during that time of year, that hunt. You know, if you get hurt and you get injured, you're blending right in with your environment. So you may not be able to really see, somebody be able to see you and find you to be able to get help to you. This right here is very beneficial. You can even see some of that reflecting off of sunlight right there, how bright that is. If somebody is flying over a search and rescue mission from aircraft, that's very easy to pick up. If somebody's out searching for you with the flashlight and they hit that, it's very easy to pick up. So Mylar blankets are a very critical piece of your gear that you've got to have with you. Make sure you get one and put it in your kit. It can save somebody's life or your own.
So we've covered a lot of topics today on our videos, and we have several hours of training that we could do. Our basic classes are from anywhere from 12 hours on up to a week-long course, depending on what exactly you want as far as the training schedule goes. anything from medical, survival, man tracking, tactical. We do hunter safety, CPR, first aid, tourniquet. Those things take hours and hours to cover. But one thing we didn't cover today in those videos was a plan, having a plan. You know, when you go out into the wild or you go out into a situation when you know there's going to be danger or the possibility of danger, somebody needs to know. It's as simple as letting the farmer who owns the farm know, hey, I'm going to be back in my tree stand in the back cornfield. If I'm not back by dark, you haven't seen my headlights leave, you might want to come check on me. It's texting your wife, hey, I'm at the corn stand that I usually have out by the cornfield, and you know, if you don't hear from me by dark, come find me. Or if I text you a certain word, that means I'm in trouble, because maybe that's all I can text you at the time. Having a plan is important.
And to simplify all that, we've created a 5-stone outdoor safety and survival sheet. So it's already, all the work's done for you. All you do is got to fill it out. So you'll put, you know, where you're going to hunt at, the date that you're planning on going, who's going to be with you, and you'll turn around, you'll put your vehicle identification, where you're going to park it. Maybe it's by a barn or a field, or maybe it's your boat or ATV that you want to kind of put, hey, this is where we're going to be at in the situation. So, you know, those things are really important so people know where you're going to be at. You can even put maybe certain medical conditions on there. And we have detailed checklist of what's really important to take with you. So it's your survival kit, it's your medical kit, and it's your communications kit.
Yep.
And then the other thing is personalized items. You can write in whatever you want, you know, customize it for your trip, and then put a checklist on it. So that is very important. All you do is take a picture of it, send it to other people in your group, or send it to somebody where you're going to go.
Right. Leave it in your car mirror.
Yeah,
or on
first
your
search and rescue that has to come after you, they know what you've got on you, where you're supposed to be at, when you're supposed to be coming out,
right,
and how to get a hold of you and your loved ones. So,
man, I know when you and I were on the fire department search and rescue team, that tool alone would have saved us hours of manpower and communications and equipment loss and those type of things. It would save us hours.
Yeah, and that's why we created
something
it.
that simple.
Just from our experience in the past, we know what's needed, and that's just kind of a way to help close the loop.
Awesome.
Save some lives.